With Dr. A. Truth Time Warp Vision. It is Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. We don't know if it's true and that's good. But if he has checked in, he's safe. And I think he's got to be on to something. He absolutely has to be on to something. Sorry for the noise here. We'll see if we can't get this squared away. But nonetheless, we're going to be going through a few things that we did yesterday. I have some updates, by the way. Last week, 24 hours ago, we were simulcasting this show on YouTube. And what was it, May? Was it 43 minutes in or something like that? We got completely shut off. We were shut down live in the middle of the stream. So am I hearing an echo? Okay. So we were shut down in the middle of the stream, and we still don't know what was going on. I mean, what could possibly have triggered them? They said that it was a copyright violation, and yet we had what we do over here, since it's just the radio and it's a YouTube thing. I put together. We've done this before. A little video for people to watch, and they're all YouTube clips, so they're already on YouTube, and yet it's a copyright violation somehow. I don't know how, but we've done it before, and they came back and they said, oh, well, you can't do that. But the first one that we got was actually from the feed that we're getting from the United States from this show, and I think it's probably from the bumper music, saying, well, maybe there was something with Pink Floyd, because Pink, they're involved in a lot of copyright DMCA stuff, and so that's acceptable. But this stuff is just video, that just random clips of people jumping off of cliffs, doing wingsuits, and girls skiing in bikinis, and volcanoes, and guys with flamethrowers, and waterfalls, and just random stuff, bobsledding wrecks and ski jumping wrecks. But they cut us off in midstream, and instead of just saying, oh, you can't make money off of this video, which is normally what they did before, it wasn't even a strike, or even warning us, they just shut us down. So we're on Twitch. Anyone that knows about Twitch, this is a gaming network, and of course 8chan is certainly, we've got a bunch of gaming folks that hang out in 8chan, and we're just proud to be on Twitch. We've done 2 broadcasts so far on Twitch, maybe 3, and we're reaching a larger audience, I think, especially considering you don't know when you're going to get shut down on YouTube. So anyway, I wanted to just let people know, hey, wow, we're on Twitch. So, and for the folks that aren't familiar with, I've been lurking in the background for quite a while on True's show, and he and I became friends through Alex Studer, who is a co-host of The Story Behind the Story, who is currently incarcerated right now under dubious circumstances, and without being able to, we're going to, again, I keep saying this, we're going to be able to tell you more when it's safe for everybody. It's a terrible situation. But nonetheless, you have to put up with me for the next 2 hours. And it should be fun, though. We're going to see what we can do about going through last week. All right. If anyone is, obviously we're going to be hitting on some censorship, because that's still, wow. amazing that they're still doing that. But the one thing, and a lot of this is going to be censorship related. Bolsonaro. Okay, if you guys have been following international news at all, you'll know that there's some serious elections that are taking place in Brazil right now, and they're all hinging on a number of different things. And one of the things is kind of the control of the media over who gets elected and who doesn't. Very much like what's happening in this country or in the United States. And here's what happened. There's a guy who is a fan of Bolsonaro, who he has every right to be a fan. And he said something that was innocuous from every angle that I could see. And I mean, my Portuguese isn't that great, but I have spent a little time in the country. And it just wasn't, I don't know why, but they shut him down. Twitter. Okay, now these are the same ilk, the same folks that are talking about collusion and all of this stuff. Now, I'm not going to go into some sort of rant, supporting Donald Trump here. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen on this show. But I can tell you that Twitter shutting this guy down, this will show you how disconnected these people are. Twitter shutting this guy down brought out millions of people, and I'm talking literally millions of people, and the good folks over at gab.ai, we're happy to welcome them. And Gab is an alternative to Twitter after we realized that what we were saying there was being, this whole concept of shadow banning, being able to just, and they're blaming it on AI and algorithms, and listen, if you've ever had any sense whatsoever, I mean, you don't even have to be a programmer, a network engineer. You don't even have to be exposed to technology to understand that humans create this stuff. And they're blaming some sort of robot that they're no longer in control of. All right? It's not our fault. It's the bot. It's just the bot. And you'll see this. This is going to happen over and over and over. And they're going to say, "Oh, well, it's too too complicated for you to understand." But it's a bot that did it. Well, anyway, the folks in Brazil, this is another problem. I mean, lack of understanding. Anyone that's ever been there during an election or during the World Cup, there are two pinnacle moments in that country's history, in timing, in culture, in allegiance, in how they're thinking and how they're getting together or separating, or people fighting and killing in the streets, or people celebrating. It's either soccer or politics, especially during an election. Now, there's a couple of things. really. I can tell you, I can attest, it ain't, it's a 15-hour flight over here. So, it's would be one hell of a boat ride, I'll tell you that much. So, what is the deal here? Why is this? Because it's the culturally responsible thing to do? No, not at all. I mean, if I go and trespass on your property and you're not there, and I pitch a tent in the corner and you come and say, hey, wait a minute, you don't live here. I can tell you what, I mean, they have certain laws in Central and South America where, hey, if you don't patrol your property, they have squatters' rights, and if they're there for more than a year, they can claim ownership of that, they can claim rights over it. And so what do you think is going to happen? People are going to defend their land. People are going to have, if they can't be there and they've got too much land that they, can't patrol it themselves, they're going to have folks go patrol it for them. And that's the idea of ownership. That's the idea of property. That's what, and it should be defended. I mean, who suddenly has the right to do that? You don't. Just because you're out of town, somebody breaks into your house and hangs out there, and you're supposed to, come home and serve them breakfast. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. It's out of line. It makes no sense. None of it makes any sense on a small or large scale. None of it. So here we go. Immigration is weaponized now, and it is at the expense of the German language, the German culture. Be right back, folks. Lots more to go over. The story behind the story with Dr. H. Watt, Burdock reporting from Manila.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Join me weekdays for my new show, Tell Chris Joe. It's going to be a problem show brought to you live from Kensington. Thursdays, I'm dealing with hot topics, heated debate, what's new around the world, and ring-ins to discuss listeners' problems and offering considered and heartfelt solutions. So join me, Chris Hart, for Tell Chris Joe. Stop what you're doing, grab a cup of tea, and coming live from Kensington. Relax, let me entertain you with a coffee bar online. Listeners' very personal problems. So that's Thursdays, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. See you there. It's going to be lots of fun.
Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or a computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Looking for a nightcap to fill your listening needs? Come join us on Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, right here on Revolution Radio. Monday through Friday for 3 hours a night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. We will take you down the supernatural path. From ET contact to the paranormal and all of the spiritual, cryptid, and conspiracy stories in between. You can find us right here on Revolution Radio at spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show. Spaced Out Radio. It's a night of talk and interaction. Are you experienced?
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, its website, the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Slips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Behind the story with Dr. A. True Watt, Burdock, Major Burdock from Manila, filling in for the good doctor. Interesting. We've got a lot of anticipation. I really want to know what he's working on right now, but I guess that's just the best part of it. You just don't know. But very happy to be back here, folks. Appreciate you. We were covering a number of things, but pretty much immigration and the problem with the New World Order and what weaponized immigration is and why people should be concerned about it. Not because it's a political hot topic point, because there is a conspiracy behind it. Why is this so important? Is it really the bleeding heart thing? Is it the right thing to do? I mean, maybe in a lot of cases it is. I mean, adoption is great. There's so many different things that you can do in a generous nature. But I have to wonder, if you really care about all these people in North Africa, why don't you go there and start there? Start there. Instead of encouraging them to risk their lives, for example, thousands are dying crossing the Mediterranean. They're being victimized, raped. We're seeing this in other countries as well. We're seeing mass immigration in places you never would have expected. For example, what about Ecuador? I mean, was that ever on the list? Did you think Brazil and Ecuador would have a problem with Venezuelans coming in? Yet troops are being sent to the border. Women are being, all families in Venezuela are piling as much cash as they possibly can, or whatever goods they have, to get the women out to Colombia so that they can prostitute themselves. This isn't a joke. This is what socialism is doing. This is the ideal thing. This is what you're seeing. This is the end game. This is what your representatives, your Democrats that are just part of this thing. Now try to stay with me on this. I go political, and I mean I don't apologize for it, but I understand the show that I'm on right now. And I'm not going to apologize for my opinions, but I have to tell you, this has a lot more to do with good and evil than it does with Democrats and Republicans or libertarians and progressives. This is a fight between good and evil. So we're going to open up the phone lines if we can. I'm not able to see the chat, but I understand we've got a phone line that comes here to Manila, and then I think Mr. Rowe might have a number for us as well. But if somebody wants to call in, if you get that number over to May. Hello, May, here in Manila. She's doing such an incredible job. She can message that to me in our studio channel on Slack, and I will be happy to entertain calls. Be fun to talk to other people. And so we'll see if we can't do that. Anyone that does call from our side, folks, this is FCC regulation, so keep the swearing to a 0 level. We don't want to upset anyone. And it's also important to be polite. So with that, it being announced, you guys mull over some of the stuff. I mean, immigration is certainly one of these things. It is just part of it. And you just kind of wonder what these people are building. What is the end game? Taking away your freedom of speech, getting you to have your children think like they want you to think, with this Common Core type of education that where, they're already deleting the history books. So here's the problem. If you start deleting history, which is in this day, censorship is tantamount to burning books, okay? And when you start doing that, I mean, haven't we learned from history what happens? Okay, and that's the problem right now, is that are we going to be able to, is there going to be enough history on the books, and will it, whatever survives, people like Snopes are going to say, oh, well, that's debunked, the little red X, that's a lie. Is that going to happen? I mean, are we going to, 20 years from now, are we going to have access to history books without that being taken away from us because it's declared to be hate speech or whatever phobic type of thing that you got going on in that day and age? What's going to happen then? We won't be able to learn from history. It'll be rewritten, and it'll just simply say, hey, pretty much everybody that's older than you is evil, and do what we say, and eat what we tell you to, and think and work here, and just be a good person, according to us. Wow. Okay. Now, how are you going to do that? I mean, how, that's just, it's like a video game. It's a bad movie. It's either a good book or a bad movie. I mean, Fahrenheit 451, 1984, George Orwell. I mean, Brave New World, Aldous Huxley. It's all there. All of the signs are there. And it's happening. It really is happening. You've got Amazon is a perfect example. Where are you going to go when you've got this Alexa that, oh, wow, I'm going to put a pod in and it's going to listen to everything that my family is saying. And then if you've heard these examples of the people in Seattle where this guy gets an email who it's his boss emails him, or he gets an email randomly and he listens to, there's an audio attachment and he's listening to his boss and his wife, his boss's wife, the two of them up in Seattle, talking about their hardwood floors. And the guy calls his boss and says, hey, listen, take that thing. Do you have one of those Alexa things? Take it and throw it away, turn it off, get rid of it, because here, check this out. Look at your email. And there's the conversation right there. And of course, it's just, oh, well, that's just one of these glitches that happened. I'm sorry, that's not a glitch. How do you put those things together? Those things have to be, I've done a little bit of programming in my day. I mean, old school stuff. I'm a proc mail guy. So I understand what it takes to send an email and how to record and to put that into a file and how that could possibly get through and go into a database and how it could be triggered to mail somebody. That takes some effort. That takes some code to patch those things together. It doesn't happen spontaneously. Period. So, this stuff, you cannot trust these people. Take a look. Do you really think that these people are trustworthy? Where do they come from? How is this possible that they could be trusted? And yet they're just all too powerful. So the only way around it is to expose. Take a look at archive.ai and some of the archive sites that you got. And if you come across something, archive it. If you come across it, take screenshots of what you're seeing. If you see something really weird going on, take some screenshots and have it go directly into this random, just a folder that you, just for your own safekeeping. I guarantee you, if it happens enough, you'll be able to go back and put it together, and then you can go to a place like 8chan and throw it in there, and that's where the people are putting all of this together, all of it together. That's where I never dreamed that I would actually believe that pedophilia was being used as the most powerful currency in the world. I mean, I would have thought, 4 years ago, I never would have dreamed of that. I never just, whoa, that's just too, I don't want to talk about that. But it's true. So what are you going to do? Document it, and hopefully we'll get some folks in here that can agitate, not in the disruptive Antifa way. I'm talking about specific people need to be pressured to do the right thing. They need to be gotten to before somebody else gets to them, i.e., Arkansas by Hillary. Because these people are dying. Anthony Bourdain, for example, that's pretty questionable stuff. In fact, let's go through some of this. It's been a while since I've gone through. We've got a series that's called The Body Count. And it's the Clinton body count. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this. But boy, did we get a lot of flack for this. We were talking to people. I got a random email. This was funny. I got a random email with somebody that wanted to advertise. They wanted to put their ads on our website. And we're proud to say that, hey, we've got a tremendous growth in traffic, and we're really it's incredible the response that we've got from unabashedly reporting what we do. And the body count is one of the things. And Lexi, she's just an incredible reporter. She's in Texas and a proud gun owner as well. She did this whole series, And we've got 10 of them in there, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. But just think about all of these things that have, all of these people that have died around Clinton. And this is the first generation, okay? I mean, this is just lightly brushing over the top of the people that from Arkansas all the way through Vince Foster. I think are we doing Vince Foster? I think Vince Foster is next. Okay. So, but I mean, you're just running through from Mena, Arkansas, the two kids that are taking a look at what's happening. I mean, just they're kids in Arkansas. What are you going to do? They're running around with slingshots and doing their own thing, and they're looking through a fence and watching CIA smuggle tons and tons of cocaine into the United States in a military base. And they just happen to be seeing something that they shouldn't have at the wrong time, or someone. And they get killed. And then their body's thrown on the tracks. And when the reporter reports on it, that person gets killed. And then the people that report on that, they get killed. It goes on and on and on. These people don't stop. They absolutely don't stop. They've crossed the line way, way back before, I mean, when he was governor. And don't fool yourself that Bill Clinton was in charge. I mean, this was Hillary all along. This is what the end game was. And so naturally there's going to be a big tantrum. There's going to be a lot of, I mean, there is, this is a person that is going to burn down the entire building. If she can't get what she wants, she will destroy everything around her. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it at all. And there are too many people that she owes. So I think we should all say a prayer right now. And I desperately hope that Hillary Clinton runs for president in 2020. I really do. Because I think that this will finally, if she's able to physically, this will finally be able to probably put the country at rest with a lot of things. Because you thought 2016 was bad. Just wait. Because the people who stood up and decided that they were going to do something about Hillary Clinton, okay? And not all of them were fans of Donald Trump. I mean, let's put it this way. A lot of people were a lot of people still aren't fans of him, but voted for him and decided that they were going to, hey, what else are we going to do? And is it the lesser of two evils? Yeah, definitely. I mean, what isn't evil about Hillary Clinton? Okay, I mean, we've gone into so many things about her, it's just insane. This is, make no mistake, to use Obama's little homage, this is a fight between good and evil. Now, here we go. I'm going to go back over and just look in my email here, because I had an email sent to me by an incredibly smart guy. And he just somebody I admire. And we got into this conversation about education and how dangerous it is right now to have this thing called, what Common Core, that's something politicians throw around and it's associated in modern politics. Okay, I'm just talking about a group of people who are part of this whole thing, this entire thing where it's okay to have these the trans thing is should be spotlighted, and I mean some really eerie, weird stuff that I think should be local. Okay, I think people in Ohio should decide what Ohio children should be learning, and not all of this other. I mean, this is just, it's way out of hand. Standardized testing, forget about that. They're not only scoring the tests wrong, but they're changing the questions so that they're engaged towards minorities. I mean, this goes way beyond affirmative action in the late 80s, early 90s. This is insane. They're changing the book. Okay? They're using words that, they're identifying words that aren't easily understood by minorities and changing them for the benefit of everyone. Not to mention ripping down statues, changing history, rewriting history, and making sure that anything that isn't understood is offensive. Anything that is vaguely offensive that somebody could possibly get offended by, it's changed or deleted. They're literally rewriting history and teaching it to our children. Terrible, terrible stuff. So now we're going to talk about education, obviously. And so this debate going on is, it's just whatever happened to the concept of vocational training. Now, that's not just the guy that's pounding nails or setting tile. It's not a plumber. But there is such a thing as an apprentice and a journeyman. And there is such a thing as somebody who is respected in their field, their profession, who is getting older, who decides, who is of good character and who is respected, who decides that he's going to take somebody and teach that person his trade. That's how it was always done. That's how you had blacksmiths. That's how you had, in any walk of life, you had vocational training. Now, what's wrong with that? Why has that been so discouraged? I think that's about the only answer that we can give to the problem that we have in our educational system right now. Because the rest of it, I swear, it is absolutely polluted. I mean, what kind of score is an ACT or an SAT these days? And when did a 4.0 get 5? And, now you've got a 5 point, extra points. And nobody can fail. Nobody can get an F. And everybody gets a gold star. And that, along with the affirmative action behind, let's step back from this just for a second, from an educational standpoint. Once you had affirmative action happening, the obvious, so many people were just, now wait a minute, don't you realize what that's going to do? Can't you look a few steps ahead and say, wow, now, let's just take the obvious one, okay, the brain surgeon, right? You're going to have some incredibly talented people that even get to that point of being a brain surgeon, okay? But if you had a choice, if it's up to you and you're there and you're looking and that person had gone through, both people are of the age that they had gone through affirmative action, or what is now, I don't even know what they're calling it now, it's just the norm. But you're looking at them side by side, one's black, one's white, and your life is on the line. You have to think that there might have been a possibility that the black person may have gotten a break somewhere along the line, and there is a possibility. Now, that is a fact. That is one thing that you can't deny. That is bringing up the possibility. Because it's very real. It's there. Now, how big of a break he got, whether it existed or not, whether that's it, and even if that is that racism? No, it's not. It was created before you even got into the whole situation. It was created because of this hypersensitivity, and yet it is real. It exists, and I'm saying that is racist. It's racist to do that. To call out and to say, hey, well, you guys aren't doing very well. We feel guilty about this, and so let's give you guys a break. And it has very real results at the end of it. And I think that somebody who is doing exactly, as they should be and is happy with their brilliant people who happen to be Pacific Islanders or from Nairobi, they should be offended that all of a sudden they need to get the rules are different for them. They get an extra something or other, something else. Terrible stuff, folks. I mean, really, really terrible. So what I'm saying is vocational training isn't about pounding nails or setting tile. The best and most ethical people in any industry should want to teach young people their trade. And if a man of reputation presents his mentee to companies, the company should be fighting to hire that person. Because that is real life training. That is whether it's a banker, whether it's somebody who runs a casino, or somebody who pounds nails, who is a roofer or a mason. It makes no difference. That is real training. Now, the rest of it, yeah, sure. Localize it. But creating these robots that really are being churned out and just hypersensitive, and they have nowhere to look. It seems like they're almost scared of everything around them that doesn't agree with them. It is cultish, and something has to be done to break that whole thing up. I have to tell you, because we're looking at the first generation of these twits that are running Silicon Valley right now, that seem to think this is okay. This is a good idea. As long as we're in the group, it's okay. So the thing we have to do is identify the ones that, hey, maybe they're going to get caught doing something, that they get caught thinking the wrong thing. And there's always going to be one of these dissidents. And then we'll try it. We'll see. So nonetheless, I think what we can do is, if you could open up, let me see if I can find our number over here, and I'll give it out to anyone that might be listening. Let's see, here in the studio. Be 1 second. I think this is a Nevada number. And if y'all want to call in, let me know what you think about this educational thing. I mean, Now, I have somebody responding back to me, and this is a quote from an anon. We could perhaps learn something from the Germans when it comes to vocational training. As I understand, they have a well-established array of excellent vocational schools and target students for those schools while they're still in their formative years. A better plan than spending years on a couch in mom and dad's basement playing video games through the age of 35 and beyond. And he's absolutely right. I was in school in Geneva, and you really are getting, people are taking a look at you at that age and saying, they're introducing you, and it's not subtle either. They're saying, you should be talking to the music teacher, you should be doing this, and the music teacher should be going over into your house, and they are really taking a look at identifying what your skills are. Now, this is in Switzerland. Back when, they still, good for them though. One thing in education in Switzerland is that that isn't going to change anytime soon, which is great. I think the Swiss are finally getting their wits about them. Is shaking the teacher's hand. That's part of it. When you go to school there, the teacher is right at the door, and he shakes your hand, or she shakes your hand right when you're coming in, and good morning, and it's a show of respect. It's a show of respect that the teacher is treating you as an adult. And of course, that had to, get into a lawsuit. You had to have a lawsuit about that because, you know, one of these immigrants came in, and of course it was a Muslim kid and it was a female teacher, and of course they can't touch the hand of a female. And the teacher said, well, then get out. Go away. That's your problem. You're not in my class. And what do? They sue. Now, thankfully, they lost. And actually, this happened twice. They just tried it again. I think it was 2-3 months ago. So, nonetheless, we'll knowing that that at least some parts of Europe are very, at least inclined to preserve part of this, is going to be a good thing. I'm desperately trying to scroll through here on, let me try this other machine here, trying to find the studio number for us here in Manila, see if we can't get that. If somebody could just post that into the studio Slack studio, because my chat is not working right now. Just need the phone number, see if anyone wants to ring in. They won't be able to ring in without the number. So we'll see if we can't get some help with that. May, do you have the studio number? You could maybe put that in our Slack channel. It's pinned to Slack there. I'll see if I can't find it. But nonetheless, we'll be talking about education further on. Wow, how many different things are we running through? We'll just wait for this number here, and then hopefully somebody can call in. And before I start going off on another angle here, wow. Okay, yeah, this is one we this is okay. So here's one that we absolutely have to talk about while I'm waiting for that number to be posted in the Slack channel. It should be pinned if you look at your pins in Slack. Let me just go ahead and do this myself here. I think I'm on a different machine that might be able to find it so that we can get our viewers on the same page in case anyone wants to call in. All right, here's Studio, and this is a great piece of software, actually. It's my laptop that's failing. So anyone that wants to call in can call 775-235-0585. Again, that's 775-235-0585, and that will find its way over here to Manila, and May will put you on. And I need to remind you, if you're used to talking to us on the, we normally don't swear, but these are FCC rules, so please don't swear. Anyway, back to this. Oh, this is incredible. Okay. We had something totally unprecedented, and I think ever. I don't think that a major newspaper has ever published an editorial that is anonymous. That kind of goes against the entire definition of an editorial. An editorial is someone's opinion. This is no one's opinion. This is no one, right? And this is, of course, I'm talking about the resistance identity of this White House person that published this thing. Now, I'm not gonna get into oh wow, this is terrible. This is just another thing that's but what I can tell you, what I do know, is this one of the things that struck me about this story. And of course, this is a senior administrative official, quote unquote, who is saying that the White House is just completely chaotic, and we've got a psycho that's right, and he has no idea what he's doing, and all of this and this and that. And I don't know. Who knows? Is it true or not? I don't know. I doubt it. But what really, really got me going was the analysis of this. And I've done this a little bit, way back when. We were able to do something that I worked for a guy in San Jose, who incredibly smart guy, programmer. He owned an ISP, and he I was asking him how many different, when we were getting attacked, network attacks, and how you trace these people down, how you can track them, because people are hopping on different IPs, and they didn't have such a thing as the onion relay back then. So it did take a lot of effort to, you had to know what you were doing to really bounce off. You had to compromise certain servers and then get root and then create accounts and log in and change IPs and then bounce. You had to have a bunch of compromised servers that you were in control of. And so it was pretty much your own very illegal VPN that you were using to hack. And so you had to hack your way into, to a place where it would be too long and too far for people to trace back where you are. Now it's a lot easier, and that's great. But one of the things that happened back then is that he told me about something called forensic linguistics. And what that does, it's the fact that your language, if you give people enough of it, if you give a good sample of your vocabulary, over a certain period of time, people can almost use it as a fingerprint. How you're putting words together is incredibly unique, and the words that you're using, incredibly unique. And I've had some luck with it myself, and I've seen people be identified using it. The most brilliant thing is that they're using networks that there is absolutely no way that anyone could ever identify them, and they just think that they're incredibly safe. But the fact remains is that you can be tracked down, especially with search engines the way they are right now. You can be tracked down just by the language that you're using to a person. Certainly you'll get narrowed down to maybe 4 or 5 in the world if you have enough data. So here's the deal. This anonymous op-ed that was posted in the New York Times is, of course, that's got to be the paper that does it. It contains this word, lodestar. Now, this is something that it's an interesting word, and this is a word that only Mike Pence is using. This is one of the things that would really, really tip somebody off. But anyone that would be, if you do this, obviously the New York Times knew that this was going to happen, and anyone involved in this would be involved. They would have to have a forensic linguist in there, and you would never ever have a word like that is so unique. So I'm saying that this was written by multiple people, and which means it is a conspiracy, and it is the announcement of the deep state. It really is the announcement of the deep state. So the very fact that such an obvious word tied to Mike Pence and the very idea that the Vice President of the United States is going to write an anonymous op-ed to the New York Times and it's going to get come on. Crack smokers. Give me a break. This is insane. So this is a very interesting thing, because to me, the planting of that word suggests that you do have a forensic linguist involved who is planting a word, assuming that it's going to be, that'll be funny. Let's see if people pick up on that, and it's Mike Pence. But they're certainly they would have erased that word. This is a word they inserted, and it's definitely, just the existence of that word means that it's a they that did it, which means, definition of conspiracy, right? And this is, the title of it is, I am the deep state. We are the deep state. This is the resistance, okay? And we're just doing this to help out. We're just helping out. So, I am the deep state. Verified. Oh, great. Yeah. And so also the another number, if anyone wants over at Revolution Radio, is 650-252-1282. Either way, if you like the 650, if that's working for you, or you want to do Nevada, which I announced earlier, which is on another screen at the moment. But yeah, the Nevada number is 775-235-0585. Fire away. Let's see what's going on. So the deep state is here. It's in the White House, and it is now. Okay, is this even real? Is there even anyone in the? Is this? I mean, because if they're going to go that far, is this really based on? Is this fiction? I honestly think that we can find out. I think that this will be something that we'll be able to find out. So this is a story worth keeping an eye on, because in any case, I mean, of course, if it was Mike Pence, that's just incredible. That would be an incredible story. But, I certainly don't think that the Vice President of the United States is deep sixing the president in an anonymous op-ed in the New York Times. Come on, give me a break. Something else is at play here, folks. So, yeah, that was one that I thought, if anyone wanted to ring in on that, wow, that would be funny to watch. But here's the thing: we've got an article here, and I'm just going to go over this. I'm saying this more than one person, so I'm kind of like out of the loop here. But you got a couple people, and the people that I really like in situations like this are gamblers, bookies, casinos, people that are making odds. Okay, so MyBookie was the first one to publish, and MyBookie it's a good outfit out of Costa Rica. I mean, they're pretty reputable. And then I don't see Patty. Okay, there's some Brits that are in here, Ladbrokes, and Betfair. So all three of those outfits, odds makers, came up with the following. Okay. Now, I mean, if I had to say, if it was one person, I don't think that a senior White House official is really everything that's cracked up to be. And it's really not quoted as being such, because it's senior administration official. Okay. Now, how many people can kind of claim that? It doesn't necessarily say that this is a person that goes to work in the White House. It doesn't even say that the person is, that the op-ed, if you read it, it doesn't even say that person is the person that it's not hearsay, that it's not that person's boss that might have had a trip to the White House. And so how this easily, I mean, because I've read the thing several times, and it's just purposely vague, which is obviously something that we've learned that these people are, I don't know, terribly good at, because they're not certainly capable of explaining any creative idea or anything that they want. So let's go through this. 17 of them. Wow. Okay, but here are the odds. It's really interesting. So this is according to MyBookie. Betsy Davis. Okay, now I don't know. That's 2-1. Now, how she got so many odds on that? I mean, whoa. Now the first one actually, because of this, this word, is Mike Pence, and they're saying it's a 1.66. So it's basically 1.5 to 1. That you're going to get a 1.6 on one payout. All right, let's just go. Jeff Sessions is on the list at 5-2. Okay, Betsy Davos is 2-1. I mean, chime out. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Do you think? I mean, come on, 4-1. I like these odds, though. I mean, if you're the House, this is great stuff. They really jumped on this. I hope people are betting on this. I hope a bunch of Democrats are betting on this. I mean, yeah, that's what we need. I noticed that they didn't put anyone in from the EPA. They've got people from HUD. You've got John Kelly, who's chief of staff. General Mattis. Come on, give me a 5-1. 5-1 for Sessions. Secretary of Interior, Ryan Zinke. 6-1. No. Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. I mean, we don't really know who that is. I mean, that's closer. I don't know why these folks. I'd say that people in agriculture or commerce, Wilbur Ross is on the list, 7-1. Alex Acosta, Labor Secretary. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but come on. I don't think that any of it. HUD, Ben Carson is on the list at 8-1. And this just goes, and 12-1. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner is in it at 12-1. But I don't think that people are really getting the fact that chances are that it's either a confirmation or it's an incredibly stupid joke. And something that is so, like, if this was made up, then you're looking at behavior of the Washington Times that has just seeped through and brushed off. That is YouTube, that is Twitter behavior. That is something that is way beyond. That is acting as if nobody is ever going to catch you doing this. And even if they did, you're not going to have any problems. I mean, somebody to do something so outrageous. All of this is incredibly outrageous. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, we have a bunch of comments on this. We've got people saying that it's Jeff Sessions, which, okay, Trump was digging into Sessions recently, but hey, I don't think that he's that dumb to do something like that. Somebody is going to out themselves and write a book about this. I doubt it, because that's almost tantamount to treason, doing something like that. I don't know, but I mean, it's certainly not. So we're talking about this, and these are people, if this did indeed happen, these people are certainly void of any sort of integrity. Certainly. Now, of course, the argument is, well, the president doesn't have any integrity. It's like, that's not what we're talking about, okay? It's so easy to switch it over and deflect. But let's just have certain people take responsibility for their actions without blaming someone else. How about that? Okay. Without using the Nazi word. Okay. Can you get through that, please? So I just find it incredible that this could even get this way. I mean, that you could even have this environment where, first of all, that the Times would even publish it. And second of all, if it was true that somebody would even do it, it's treason. I mean, how could you possibly do that and expect to get a job somewhere else? The only reason is that we're in an environment where that behavior is being applauded because there's a common enemy, and it's a Nazi, and you might be next. Okay, so if you get labeled as such and such, it's going to be okay for people to, when you're out of town, well, that's the Nazis' house. Let's say that a kid sets your fence on fire. He's playing with some fireworks, and you happen to be out of town, and all the neighbors are around, and the fence is on fire, and it's burning and going towards your house. Well, that's a Nazi's house. Let it burn. That really is something. I mean, and then again, it's not going to take much longer after that for somebody to just go and set fire to your house because you're a Nazi. Now, I don't know. Call me weird, call me crazy, but this is just that type of thinking. Again, shouldn't we have seen this in the history books? Somewhere, please. Anyone. So, here we go again. This is another thing. I think we'll try to get off politics and just go into something that is a little bit more psychological. How about that? I think that a lot of this has to do with narcissism. A lot of this behavior. Because if I can point to somebody else and just shout at the top of my lungs that they're bad and therefore I'm good, then it really is about me. It really is me shouting to the world that I'm good, that I'm better, that I know what's moral and what's not, and I have the power, that I'm able to decide, and I've got a bunch of people behind me chanting the same thing and wearing slogans or pussy hats or whatever it might be. I'm talking about the pink hats that the women were wearing, and I mean, it's okay to be that vulgar in the streets. And it's okay. As long as you're in a group, you're fine. And I know it sounds like I'm just going off on Democrats, but I mean, the fact is that this group of people is supporting what this entity of evil is. And it's based on getting the people who support them appealing to narcissism. And you want to take a look, it really is one of the deadly sins. So, this culture that we've got that is based around selfies is really getting to be out of hand. People are dying. People are dying every day because they're taking their own, they're more concentrated on looking at their image in their phone and taking the perfect Instagram photo, and they're falling off cliffs. And I mean, groups of people are falling off waterfalls and dying. That happened a couple months ago. I think it was 4 people that were doing the YouTube channel or something, were filming something on selfie sticks and just backed right off the waterfall. Died. Pretty incredible stuff. So where is it going? I mean, where is there, how do you teach someone that that's really not healthy, that that's not a good thing, to be so obsessed with yourself, that constantly looking for approval? And I've seen studies that say, hey, these are probably the most insecure people, the people that are constantly taking pictures of themselves and putting together this beautiful life instead of living it. And it's incredibly sad. You see people traveling. Oh, man. Wow. It used to be really, really bad. And I think people most of these people came to their senses. But I don't know if you all remember. I mean, it was like, what, 3-4 years ago? No, maybe even before that, when the selfie sticks just started coming out, and just there was a period of time where it seemed like 2 or 3 years where it was just terrible. Everyone, they were smacking you in the face with them and wandering around, getting hit by, I mean, to the point where, when these people got hit by cars, you kind of laugh and say, well, that's kind of stupid. Maybe you shouldn't do that. But the underlying thing that's really sad is that they're just recording it for other people, but not even for themselves. They're not really living in the moment. They're not taking time to even talk to anyone else. They're talking to themselves in an electronic device that's mimicking their image. I mean, just spitting back an image. And you have to wonder, I can understand that might be appealing to some people at certain times. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on the news, for example. I mean, if you ever you ever been on TV or I'm sure that there's probably quite a few people in the audience that have been around that they've something got an interview for something on a TV station, and of course you're going to watch it. You kind of want to see, hey, oh wow, I'm on TV, and you maybe watch it 4 or 5 times, just curious if you look like an idiot, or appealing to some vanity. But this is nonstop. This is just day after day. This is waking up and all the way through the day going in, and that's it. And you have to construct this perfect life that's really not real. And if you think about how far that goes, well, what happens? I mean, what's the point of even doing it? You can just, why not pay for it? And that's where it's going. So you've seen these incredibly wealthy kids. I don't know if you heard of this. They're I don't know, there's a name for them. They're the sons of people who have hundreds or millions or billions of dollars, and the parents just don't care. Just open checkbook on everything, jets and whatever it might be. And that's the ultimate thing, is to take selfies in your private jet, and to really kind of rub it into other people's face about, the wealth, or, how better off you are. And so there was a whole culture in that, so much so that there was a huge demand. There was a startup company that said, hey, if you give us, $5,000, and we'll take a bunch of pictures of you in these certain situations, and then we'll airbrush you into private jets and clubs and with celebrities, and we'll do a professional Photoshop job of you that's custom, so that you can put this on your Facebook page or your Instagram, and so that everybody thinks that you're important. And so people are paying tens of thousands of dollars to look like they're wealthy. I mean, how does that speak? How can that possibly speak? Nonetheless, we're going to get through. Next week, we're going to be having Phil on, and then also I might talk Lexi into coming on the show. It'd be great. If not, I do have someone who is from Montana who might be able to be on the show, former Press Secretary Pat Buchanan, which kind of be interesting in a political time. We're not going to be turning it into a public, any sort of political kind of public shaming of Democrats or anything like that. They already have enough as it is. It is a battle between good and evil that we're talking about, folks. It really does come down to that. And I cannot declare one or the other is, going to win at this point, but I think we all know what's right. I think we know what the best thing to do is. And, here's the whole point of it. First, do no harm. That's what we need to all step back and think about. Do no harm, folks, because it doesn't seem like there's any thinking going on right now. People are too busy looking at their own image in cameras and being told what to do. And wow, some really, really scary times. This week was incredible. You might want to check out the Goldwater with tons of articles. Red Pill, Phil, Lexi, Savannah, Steve Deller, everybody that just did a great job working everything internationally. Check out the section on Brazil. I guarantee you, this is incredible to watch. You will see a battle between good and evil going on there. And wow, did that backfire. I think that this is, just a tinge of something that's going to be coming. This is just a harbinger, folks. We're going to see what happens with that. Man, say a prayer for Bolsonaro. He's the guy that is doing a lot better in a hospital bed in I think he's in Rio at the moment. And let's send some prayers for him. Here's a guy that is just running for president, just trying to do something he deserves to be heard and voted for. He doesn't deserve to get stabbed. So I don't think that is a good way to solve anything. Hopefully some people learn. And also keep an eye on Burdock at the goldwater.com. Send me an email if you need to have any explanation. What I'll do is just send you a primer on how to. It'll just give you just a basic email. I'll get something from the 8chan guys. Might as well get it from them. This is the source here, folks. And there's a good explanation already there. But if you're curious about onion relays, or if you're curious about how VPNs, or why you might need a VPN, certainly I can explain that to you in a quick email for anyone that wants to shoot one off to me. And we'll certainly, I'll find out. I really have to find out if anyone knows what's, I'm just curious what's going on, where True is, but I guess I'm going to be in suspense. But next week we're going to have some great stuff. I just was all over the board. Didn't have much time to prepare for anything, but really enjoyed it. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. This is Major James Burdock, Story Behind the Story, reporting from Manila. Godspeed, folks.